Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today's going to be a little bit of a different format. As I'm sure you can see in the title, we're going to be talking about how to start collecting Disney Lorcana in 2025. Some of you have already transitioned from maybe some other games like Magic, Pokemon, etc. But for others, Disney Lorcana will be your first TCG, which is absolutely amazing. So yeah, to those who are new to the TCG space, to the collecting space, we welcome you and we're very happy that you're here. Either ways, I hope everyone that is watching this video finds some sort of useful information and is able to take something away. Just as a disclaimer, nothing in this video, nothing on my channel, nothing I say is financial advice, and I really recommend everyone to do their own research before you start investing or spending your hard-earned cash. Collecting in the TCG space is not cheap. It's not a cheap hobby, it's really expensive, and you need to have clear goals and targets if you want to stay in the hobby for a long time so you don't get burnt out, or worse, that you don't get put into financial stress because of it. But that is one of the amazing things about getting into Disney Lorcana. Because it's so new, Lorcana's barrier to entry is so low compared to other TCGs. There are only 7 sets of Lorcana available right now. And to certain cards, there's literally only one alternative chase art, and that would be the all-famous Enchanted Rares. This is contrasted against Pokemon, which have many chase alt arts. For example, full arts, alt arts, gold cards, SIRs, and the list just goes on and on. This means going now and collecting those cards that you really resonate with and want in your collection is so much easier and less daunting than in other games. Before you go out there and start collecting your first cards, you first need to be able to identify what sort of collector you want to be. Do you want to be a sealed collector? Do you have a character that you really like and want to collect every single artwork and card that ever exists in the game? Do you like collecting full sets, master sets? Do you like collecting graded cards like PSA? The list doesn't end here, but that's the beauty about collecting. You don't have to collect what everyone else is collecting. You collect what you enjoy and that's it. These are all questions you need to ask yourself because it all helps in narrowing down what exactly you want to spend your hard-earned money on. The best thing to do is to pick 1 or 2 ways you would like to collect and stick to it. When opening packs and you get a card that doesn't quite fit into your collecting style, you really need to consider maybe selling that card and either buying more products so you can crack open, or sell it and then use that money to buy the singles that you need for your collection, the cards that you're going after. This leads me on to my next point. If you are collecting certain cards, for example, if you're collecting master sets, full sets, you know, anything that you're collecting certain type of cards, you need to bear in mind that it's going to be cheaper and more effective to just buy the singles. I know it's boring and I know we're in this hobby because we like to open packs. The gambling aspect is fun. However, I need to mention it, and maybe knowing that it's not a bad idea to set a limit for every single set that comes out, how much you want to spend on sealed product, and then at what certain point you want to stop opening sealed product and then transition onto buying single cards. You also need to consider what you're buying and what is best to buy for your collecting needs. If your goal is to collect cards from packs, your best option will always be to open booster boxes. They'll have the best dollar to pack ratio most occasions, and therefore you'll want to stay away from mostly every other product. Treasure troves are also a good product to crack open. However, the dollar to pack ratio is a little bit worse. However, sometimes when shops have this item on offer, that's when this item can become really worth it. It's also worth to mention that treasure troves are fun to open. You also get a nice storage box just to store all your bulk cards or cards that you might want to save for later. If you're going down the route of collecting every single card in the sets and every promo, you may want to branch out into also collecting all the collector boxes. But you need to be careful, as not all box promos are exclusive to that box and you'll be able to get it in that set. When you're buying collector boxes, you need to make sure that the box promo has this logo for it to somewhat be an exclusive box promo. And then we have starter decks. Starter decks you buy if, I guess you don't really buy starter decks unless you're teaching someone how to play, or if you're really going down that route of keeping 1 or a certain amount of every single sealed box that does come out. Finally, and arguably the most important point that I can talk about today is protection. Protecting your cards is very easy, but it does require a little bit of an extra investment. But it's all worth it in the long run, as this will make or break whether a card is valuable or not. To begin with, you need standard fit sleeves. These are a must, and they're a first layer of protection to all of your valuable cards. From here, you have different routes that you can go into. You can either put your cards into top loaders, which will provide much more protection for your cards, or you can put your valuable cards into binders. Make sure that the binder you use is not a ring binder, as when you're using a ring binder, when turning the pages, you run the risk of slightly bending your cards against the rings in that binder. Something like this would be great. It has no rings and it has a zip to keep all the dust out. You can also get a top loader binder. This is literally just like what I've just showed you, but instead of just putting your sleeved cards inside, you can put top loaded cards inside, and that obviously provides the most protection for your most valuable cards. I would not suggest using this for every single card, as if you're doing this for your master sets and your full sets, it can get really expensive really quickly. So the biggest of biggest hitters, this is what I recommend this for. Now, I know there is a lot of fear hovering around Lorcana on whether it's going to fail and whether it's even worth investing in. But there's no credible source or stat that would consider this to be remotely true. In fact, everything points otherwise. Local tournaments are still going strong. The singles market is steadily growing. The product on the shelf is moving. Yes, Ravenberger are printing to demand. And yes, it may seem that the supply is far too much, but you need to remember that this game only has room to grow. And years down the line, when demand increases and when interest keeps on growing, the people that join in a couple years down the line are gonna want the first chapter, the first few chapters. And that's when the value goes up. So right now, yes, supply is greater than what we are demanding per se. But in the future, when interest has grown, what we have right now is very limited. Getting the cards you want will become far more difficult, and they'll become a price that is far less attainable than what we have them at now. That's all from me today. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next video.